Well, it's New Year's Day 2023. We made it. We had some crazy weather in December. We got like 3 or 4 feet of snow in the middle of the month, and check this out. Bummer. This was our new vegetable wash-in and packing station, tool storage and such, and it couldn't quite handle the load. So that came down middle of the month, and then after that we had a week of about 20 below zero, and then it warmed up and we had 2 days of 50 to 70 mile an hour winds, which did a lot of other damage, but blew away a lot of the snow, which was nice. It's only the start of winter. We'll see what the rest brings. There's the sun. Just after the solstice, high about noon right now. So, you know, it's not completely dark here. Everything else is holding up pretty good. This pig pen was sagging quite a bit. I had to shovel the snow off of there, but that held up better than this lean-to here. So we got a project here as soon as it melts a little bit. Got this big Quonset here I started putting up in the fall, right before it snowed. I got one more bent for the one more section I'm going to stand up, and then we'll cover that in greenhouse plastic this spring, planting it in the summer. Definitely figured out that greenhouses, protected planting areas are a must around here. It's just too variable. You never know what's going to happen. It could be hot and dry, or tons of rain and cold, and the greenhouse just makes everything a lot easier and more consistent and better production all around. So gonna work on collecting more planting areas under cover. And if all this stuff works out, I'll probably just get rid of all this homemade stuff and get a real, commercial tunnel at some point once we get everything figured out. So here's a little recap of 2022, how all the growing and harvesting went. I wanted to post videos as I went throughout the season, but it was just too busy, had too much stuff going on. We built this shop, did this lean-to, which now needs to be rebuilt. We did a lot, and so I learned a lot, and next year we're just going to build off of that again. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a happy new year, everyone.
weather.
That's right.
Oh, what's that? This one. This one.
I had 3 seed trays that I transplanted at the beginning of July. Today is the 22nd, I think. So 3 weeks in the ground. It was 2 weeks in the nursery before I transplanted them out. And so it was, I think I got 50 plants per tray, and there wasn't 100% germination, so it was probably 130, 140 plants total that I put out, and in 3 weeks, and I got 4 pounds, just over 4 pounds of lettuce. These are all 1/4 pound, 4 ounce packages, and I'll probably sell these for $3, I think, or 2 for $5. I think I'm gonna go with that. So today is the 20th of July. So this first bed of carrots is about 2 months old right now, and then this bed is about 6 weeks old. I put these nasturtiums out 2 or 3 weeks ago. I think I did these about 3 weeks ago, and then some of the other ones on the other side, they're about 2 weeks old. But yeah, they're just going crazy. These carrots are ready to pull. They're perfect. Here, I'll pull one for you and show you. They're just the perfect size right now, I think. They're nice and sweet, and this is what I want. So only 2 months, and that's I was expecting three months, so that's cool. So now I know I can kind of plan for that next year. Now, but then the plan here is I've got pumpkins and squash and stuff that I'm gonna interplant in these nasturtiums. I was kind of using the nasturtiums as like a soil builder to add nitrogen to the bed. And so hopefully the pumpkins and squash do really well in here right after that. And then I'm also gonna be picking out these carrots, and so that they'll be able to vine out without worrying about interrupting things, covering up the carrots. Okay, so we got the second bed of carrots harvested, and I ended up with about 22 pounds of carrots here, and I was a lot more selective this time around as far as not washing the small ones or the stubby ones, kind of keeping everything a little more uniform in size. They're not very straight, a lot of them, and that's due to the soil. I think it's from the wood that I have in the garden bed still. So over time that should break down, and hopefully they all kind of start to straighten out in the next couple seasons. It makes it a lot easier to wash them. And the reason I left a lot of the smaller ones in the field is it takes just as long to trim and wash a small one as it does a big one, and I just don't think it's worth the effort to keep all the small ones like that. So yeah, I think I got about 28 pounds on the first bed, and so 22 pounds here. And it took about 3 hours, I think 2.5, 3 hours to pull them all, trim them, wash them, and pack them by myself. So it's about an hour every 10 pounds, I figure. And if I'm selling them for $5 a pound, that's $50 an hour. And then that doesn't include anything on the front end as far as planting and bed prep and watering them and weeding them and all that. I'm not going to sell these. I'm just going to give these away also. Kind of get the word out, you know, free samples, how I'm looking at it. Next year we'll make a little more of a go of it, making sure we get to the farmers markets and other stuff. Excited to try them out. Actually, I know they're very good, so excited to give them out. It's the end of August right now, and I'm in my second greenhouse, and it's been working really well. The peppers here are obviously bending over because I don't have them trellised up, but the peppers are just massive. And the lettuce, this is my second planting of lettuce. I put in 2 weeks ago, I think. I can harvest this right now for my first cutting. I harvested about half of the onions, and I put some peas up there, and then kale in the middle here. But these onions are ready to pull also. They look really good. I haven't had onions turn out this well before, so I'm happy to have that. And the peppers here too, I gotta harvest all these. I just kind of been deciding what to do with them. But I'm kind of having a problem now because it's getting so cool at night, but the humidity is staying, you know, between 100% and 80. It's 80% humidity right now. The sun just finally came out. We got about 6 inches of rain so far this month, and it's been. I think it's always 100% humidity in here. It's raining, dripping from the ceiling right now, and it's been doing that for a few weeks now, ever since it really cooled down. All of August, it's been really cool, like in the mid-50s, and lots of rain. So the peppers, one of the problems I've had is these mushrooms, these big mushrooms that have been growing. They come up at the base of the plants in the holes in the landscape fabric, and I think that's part of what's causing them plants to tip over. I've had a couple of them where they died because the stem was basically just disconnected. It was so thin, and I think that's from the mushrooms. These peppers are ready to harvest. They've been ready to harvest for 2 or 3 weeks now. They're getting really big, and they are good. We've been eating lots of them, but there's way more than our family can eat, and I've given away as many as I can. So, and unfortunately now, due to all the humidity and how cool it's been at night the past 2 or 3 weeks, we're starting to get some mold on the pepper plants here, which is really unfortunate. So I'm gonna cut all of them out today because I don't want the mold to spread, and I'm kind of torn on what to do about it, because it's I should have a fan in here, because in the first half of the summer it was getting really hot in here, but fortunately all the plants were really small at that time, and I think they stayed cool enough being close to the ground with this landscape fabric over, and then the drip irrigation keeping it moist all the time. I think they did okay. We didn't really have any problems with bolting, but now we're getting it's always 100% humidity in here, and there's no ventilation to keep that moisture down. So we're getting some mold on the pepper plants, just a few of them, mainly towards the back. I close up the front pretty good at night when I know it's going to be cold. Sometimes we dip into the mid to low 40s at night, and if it wasn't for this greenhouse, nothing would look like this. I've got pepper plants also outside, and they're really small, and they're starting to get soft and rot on the vine. So that's no good, and it confirms that I definitely do need to have a greenhouse for growing things around here for more than just 1 or 2 months outside. Here's that mold I was talking about. I don't know if it's a mold or a mildew, but it's mostly forming on the plants here towards the back of the greenhouse. And I don't think it's good, so we're going to throw out all the plants and anything that's got that stuff forming on it, and we'll keep the rest and see what we end up with. So here's the other issue I've been having in here. It's these mushrooms that have been growing up, mainly only where these pepper plants have been growing, which is kind of odd, but these are bigger holes in the landscape fabric, and that's where they come up through. I'm thinking it's coming from the hay that I used when I was layering this garden bed up, and I did 2 layers. I did a layer of hay, a round bale that I rolled out, then I put like 6 inches of horse manure down, and then another layer of hay, and then some more horse manure and some screen topsoil I got from around here, and then put the landscape fabric over it and transplanted into that. And so we had lots of weeds and stuff, which I think should be less next season, but these mushrooms have been coming up, and I actually lost a few plants because of them. They kind of ate away at the base of the stem or the stalk, and so there used to be a pepper plant in here, but these mushrooms have been coming up through there. You can see some rotten ones behind there, and here's a fresh one, and so that's kind of been an issue, and hopefully they're not as bad next season. And I don't know if I'm going to be doing that same technique anymore because of this with the straw or the hay in the garden beds, because I know mushrooms love to grow on straw and hay, so it's not ideal. Well, it's raining again, but it was really nice out for a little while. Anyway, I ended up with 29 pounds of sweet peppers here off of about 15 plants. And I had harvested a lot of them earlier on, a few weeks ago. But this is a pretty good haul here, and then 2.5 pounds of jalapenos from 3 plants. These were a little slower to grow. I had lots of little tiny ones that I didn't harvest, and if they would have had longer time to grow, they would have all matured. So next year, to improve on this, I'll definitely be starting these things earlier. It wasn't really an option this year because I didn't even have any greenhouses ready, but I think I planted them middle of June out in this greenhouse. So I think if I get them in middle of May, I'd get a really good jalapeno harvest. The outdoor ones, they're kind of similar. I've got a few of them that are decent size, but then just lots of little ones that aren't really maturing. They kind of, with these cool nights and even cool days, they're not growing a whole lot. We're getting into the mid 40s at night, and usually not even getting above 60 in the daytimes anymore. So things have definitely slowed down outside. That's why I covered the outdoor bed with the landscape, or the row cover material, and I'm going to try to keep it a little warmer in there. I was thinking I'd put greenhouse plastic over it too, but I don't want it to be too humid, as I'm having the problem in the greenhouse. So I'm going to hold off on that for now, but I think once it starts to cool down even more and things start to dry up a little bit, I'll put a sheet of greenhouse plastic over that low tunnel and see how that does, see if I can keep my kale and peas and whatever else I end up putting out there see how long we can keep it going into the winter. And so as I was washing all of these, I'm pretty particular. Any spots or things that don't look right, even if the texture is not right, if they're starting to get just the slightest bit soft, I throw them to the side and I just give them to the animals. Practicing my quality control here. I plan on just giving all this away, or as much of it as I can, but I package it up and I put my label on it and stuff, so it's kind of just advertising for next year is how I'm looking at it. I'm pretty happy with how all this turned out, though. I don't think I would have gotten anything close to this without a greenhouse or some sort of crop protection. I did kind of the side-by-side experiment with the garden bed next to it, and that was uncovered for the whole season. And through June and July things grew really well, but then August we really cooled down and started getting a lot of rain, and so the cold, damp conditions really slowed down the growth. And I'm starting to get a lot of rotten stuff over there where it's just getting soft on the vine, and so I'm gonna pick through all those here next and just throw out whatever's no good and keep whatever I can. The jalapenos were not spicy, the ones outside anyways. These ones from the greenhouse started to get a little bit of heat to them, which is good, which is what I want. I think hot peppers would be a really good product to sell around here since they're difficult to grow, and I think a lot of people do enjoy them. So I'm going to focus on these again next year. I'm going to save a lot of my seeds, and you know, hopefully after a few years of saving the seeds you kind of get your own special variety that's kind of suited for your climate is what I'm hoping for. But anyway, I just wanted to share all this with you, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.